So once again, I welcome to this research methods in education class today. Today we will be discussing about different types of data and its natures. And I told you earlier, data is the heart of educational research. Because it depends on the data, you have to analyze your results, you have to generate your findings or conclusion or outcome of your research. So outcome of your research mainly depends upon the quality of the data. So if your data is not proper quality or valid, so your entire research result may be fallacious. So your entire result may be wrong. So in this context, data has a very significant role, and you know that data can primarily be, or it can be a qualitative data, it can be quantitative data, and data can also be primary data or secondary data, and further data can be a nominal data, can be ordinal data, ratio data, and interval data. So you need to understand all these types of data and need to understand the nature of the different types of data. Otherwise, you will be confused when you are doing a research. So let us begin with the, so what is data? As I told you, data can be qualitative or can be quantitative. But primarily, data are values of qualitative or quantitative variables belonging to a set of items. When I say data are, so data is a plural term, and the singular form of data is datum. Because whenever you collect information not a single piece. You are collecting a series of information. You are collecting a large number of information from different sources. And whenever you collect data or information, so that data you are collecting regarding some variables. You know variables? Variables are the main subject of investigation in any kind of research. Suppose, for example, you want to study the teacher effectiveness of teachers at secondary level. So your main variable is the teacher effectiveness. So whenever you collect data from the field, you have to collect data about the variable that is teacher effectiveness. And data are essential for human development because our research contributes for the human development. The research contributes for the development of education, development of economy, development of medical science. And therefore, so we make all kinds of decision, all kind of conclusion from the data only. Therefore, data are essential for human development. The three terms are associated with the data. Sometimes we say data, sometimes we say information, sometimes we say facts. So we can make a distinction between these or among these three terms: data, information, and facts. Let's see what is data. that are information about a subject. For example, Priya is 35 years old and has 2 children. So here, if you read the sentence, Priya is 35 years old and has 2 children. So the sentence conveying a information or conveying a message about the subject Priya. So if you can break this sentence, you will find in any kind of data, you will find it talk about a subject. And here our subject is Priya. And in any kind of data, it also talk about information. The information is 35 years old and have 2 children. Here, if you ask me what is variable here, here age is the variable. What is the age of Priya? Now Priya is 35 years old. How many children Priya has? The 2 children Priya. So therefore, always when you talk about data, we cannot forget about variable. Because we collect data or information about a particular variable. If you come to education situation, you say, student X secured 45 marks in science. So your student X is the subject. 45 marks is data or information. So if you put together, student X secured 45 marks in science, in math, in English. So here the variable is the achievement in math, achievement in social science, achievement in mathematics. So data is always deals with a subject. So always deals about a information about the variable. So let us discuss some of the terms used in the data, or because these terms are required when you want to analyze the data. When you want to analyze the data, these terms are available. Therefore, you should be acquainted with these terms. The first one is the case. And this is especially useful when you want to analyze your data by using a computer software like Excel or SPSS or CSTAT. These are the computer software that you can use to analyze your quantitative data. So then these terms are, you have to use the terms, and therefore you should get acquainted with what it is. So if you say here, case, all the information about one subject or individual is the case. Suppose, for example, in your study, you are involving 20 students. So here all the 20 students are case. Case 1, case 2, case 3. The total number of cases are 20. So we collect information or data about the case. Case is the individual. Case is the subject. So another term is variable. A single piece of information for all cases. So there are 20 cases are there, or 20 sample is there. You want to collect information about their achievement from 20 cases, and these are variable. But variable has many other meanings, but here the information or data about which you are collecting is variable. Variable has many other terms like many other definition, many other meaning. Generally say variable is something that varies from cases to case or individual to individual. Suppose you take achievement. Achievement will vary from person to person. You say sex. Sex will vary from person to person. And therefore it is variable. It can be psychological variable, it may be sociological variable, it can be biological variable, it can be the different types of variable are there. Then another term is record. A collection of related variables are record. So when you collect information about 20 individual, 20 cases, that is a record. In record you will find all cases. In record you will find all variables. In record you will find all the data. So let us see here. In this table, if you can see, this is a record. Here cases are there. Here variables are there. Here data is also there. What are the variable here? Can anybody say?
Age, sex, education,
Age, income.
and children.
Okay,
These
very
are the
good.
variables.
So these are the things that is reflected in column. Things that is reflected in the column like age, sex, education, occupation, income, children. These are variables. And what is the data? 35 is the data. Female is the data. Become is the data. Accountant is data. 15,000 is data. So what are the cases here? The cases are Priya, cases are John, cases are Anjana, cases are Avijit. So when you put together or you see everything in totality, that is known as records. For your entire research, all your data you collected and you put into Excel file, that becomes a record. So every record has columns in variables and cases in rows. I say in every. So here if you see, so these are columns, and these are cases. And in every record you will find columns. Columns represent variables. Remember, columns represent variables, and these rows, this is one row, this is one row, this is one row, this is one row. So rows represent the cases. Okay. I told you the cases, variable and records. Let us see the types of data. Data can be quantitative and qualitative, I told you. When you collect data or information in terms of number, in terms of quantity, that is quantitative. Total number of students in a particular school is 320. It's a quantitative data. The average student's mark in science is 46. Is a quantitative data. Or one student secured mark 73 is a quantitative data. But on the other hand, qualitative data can be about the opinion of something. It can be in form of text. It can be in form of image. It can be in form of audio records. It can be in form of video clippings. So only main difference is that in quantitative data are in terms of number. These are also known as metric data. Data that is, or that can be utilized for all arithmetic and mathematic operation. The metric data, the measured data, I can say. Quantitative data are measured data. All mathematical, arithmetical operation you can do with the quantitative data. But in case of qualitative data, these are text, these are paragraph, these are pages, these are image, audio, video clippings, specimens. So these are qualitative. So we cannot do any mathematical arithmetic operation in qualitative data. So you need to understand quantitative and qualitative data because you have to select a suitable strategy, suitable technique for your data analysis. So when your data is qualitative, how it will be analyzed? When your data is quantitative, how it will be analyzed? So therefore, you need to understand both quantitative and qualitative data. The data we collect by using any test will give us a quantitative data. Any data you collect by using a interview, by using a observation, will be qualitative in nature. Further, data can be primary and secondary. When you go to the field and collect the data, gather the information, that is primary, because you are the first person you are collecting data from the field. But sometimes we use the data collected by somebody else for our research purpose, that is secondary. We use the data available in the census reports. We use the data that is available in the website All India School Education Survey by NCERT. The data collected by Prathama NGO. Data collected by NIFA, etc. So here you have not collected data, but you are using it. So therefore it is secondary. Research can be possible by using both kind of data, maybe primary or secondary. But usually if you want to do a research, the original research, I think you should concentrate primarily on primary data. Again, data can be discrete and continuous. Continuous data, for example, student's mark can be 30.5, 25.5. That is a continuous data. The quantitative data mostly is sometimes it is continuous, sometimes it is discrete. Data can be continuous in nature, but sometimes data can be discrete. Suppose, for example, number of girls in a particular school. You have to give a number. Total number of girls is 25. You cannot say total number of girls is 25.5. You cannot say that number of school in this particular district is 1000.25. Because whenever you collect data about the individual, like a number of individual, number of boys, number of girls, number of schools, number of blackboard, number of computers, number of laptops available, you have to use a discrete. And this data is a discrete data. This is a quantitative data, but this is discrete data. You cannot say that the total number of female is 35.75 because this is not available. What you can say, the mark of a particular student is 30.5 because this is continuous in nature. So whenever you collect data by using a test, any test, and it may give you a result in decimals, 25.5 or 25.5. They continuous. So data can be discrete, data can be continuous. Further, data can be cross-sectional, data can be time series, data can be panels. So this classification of data is based on the time. You say time series data. Time series data means, suppose you want to collect data about the enrollment and retention of primary school students in last 5 years. Is a time series data. Data collected over time is a time series or panel. When you want to study the number of students getting enrolled or got enrolled and attendance the last 5 years, last 3 years, last 10 years, you are taking something in terms of time, and therefore the time series data. On the other hand, we can have a cross-sectional data. Cross-sectional data means whenever you collect data on the same time, but from different section of the people. Same time in 2021, you want to collect data, but you are collecting data from rural section, from urban section, from tribal section, cross section. But the time is same in 2021, but the sections are different. Therefore, it is cross-sectional data. But in case of time series, time is different. You are collecting data over a period of time. Time series data. It all depends upon the kind of research method you are following. It is not required for all kinds of research. And the last kind of data is very, very important for you. So data can be, these are a different way to classify data. These are a different way to classify data in social science and education research. Data can be nominal data, data can be ordinal data, data can be interval data, data can be ratio data. And these are, I can say, these are also known as levels of measurement. Very fundamental concept in understanding statistics and data analysis. And you need to understand what is nominal scale, what is ordinal scale, what is interval scale, what is ratio scale, and what is its implication for data analysis. And sometimes you will find in books and literature, and this is written under levels of measurements. This is written under scales of measurements. Measurement scales in social science. So let us see. We'll see all the data starting with a nominal measurement. The value name attributes uniquely. What is nominal measurement? I will give you an example. If I look to the slide, it is written 33 on a t-shirt. 33. Sometimes you see in some others it is 25. Some other it is 45. What does it mean? The better example will be, I think you have seen the cricket match, and every cricketer on back, they have a number. Sometimes 99 is also number of Sachin Tendulkar. Some people have number 2, some people have 22. What does it mean? Is it talk about something that Sachin Tendulkar is superior or Sachin Tendulkar is inferior? Definitely no. These are the numbers given to identify a particular player from the back. So therefore, nominal data or nominal measurement is used to identify. We say this is identification data. Your name. You are now 32. Your name does not indicate you are better, you are superior, or you are inferior. It does not indicate. What it indicates? It indicates that it gives your identification. So your name cannot be used for any kind of quantification, any kind of ordering. Teacher cannot order you on certain skill, on certain variable, on basis of your name. Another example, the house number. Everybody having their house number. What does it indicate? From the only house number, you cannot say that this is a big house and this is a small house, or this is a house, occupied by rich people and this is the house occupied by poor people. No. House number is also an identification of data. The postal pin is a identification data. Sometimes when you do data analysis, the sex is a variable, you want to quantify it, you want to code it. The sex you want to code. Code means when you want to work with the Excel or SPSS or any computer application for your data analysis, all your data will be coded in terms of number. Suppose sex is a variable and there are males are there and there are females are there, but you cannot write here male and female. Instead, you want to code it. You have given code 1 for male, 2 for female. What does it mean? So males are not superior, females are not inferior. So this number is given to identify. Whenever you see 1, you mean that the 1 means this is male. Whenever you see 2 means this is female. So therefore, some people say nominal scale is not a measurement. You are not measuring anything. You are only leveling. Yes, she is Gayatri and she is Kohel. And this is the roll number. Your roll number is example of nominal data. So whenever you do research, whenever you collect data, some kind of data you collect that is nominal in nature, that is useful for identification. You collect about the name of the sample. You collect about the sex of the sample. You collect about the age of the sample. All these things are nominal in nature. You collect about whether you belong to rural area or urban area. This is all nominal. So whenever you have a nominal data, it is which kind of statistic that you can use? Which kind of statistic you can use here? Because here no statistical calculation will work. No arithmetic operation will work. You cannot add Koheli plus Gayatri, you cannot add it. You cannot add my telephone number with your telephone number. This is nonsense. Because our telephone number is also identification data. So it is only useful to classify people, to identify people, or identify your sample, identify your cases. So therefore, you cannot use any kind of arithmetic operations here. But one statistics that you can calculate when you have a nominal data, one measures of central tendency is useful when you have a nominal data. That is mode. You can note down. Mode can be calculated when you have nominal data. Because mode is the statistic that indicates the highest frequency. Suppose there are male and females are there. If you calculate the mode, you can find out whether males are more or females are more. So only mode can be calculated, but you cannot make any kind of arithmetic calculation. Your addition, subtraction, multiplication, nothing is possible. Because the data that you collect, that indicates only the identification value. And the second order, if you see ordinal, gradually the complexity, gradually the effectiveness of the data will increase. The ordinal data. The name suggests ordinal means something can be ordered. Something can be ordered. The best example is when any competition is going on. We order first, second, third. Here is a order. What does it indicate? First means you are best, you are better than two. Second. Third means you are in third position. You are less than second position in the first position. Here there is some kind of quantification started. Quantification started. So as a researcher, when you go to field, whenever you want to collect some data you can collect in form of ordinal scale. And whenever you collect data in a attitude scale, in attitude scale, there is a one statement followed by 5 scale value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is example of an ordinal data. Suppose you want to study the science process skill, the science experiment skill of students. Then when students are doing science experiment, you are observing and giving a rating, giving them a scale value 1 to 5. If you say 5 is the best, definitely if you are giving 5 to a one student, he or she is the better than rank 4, 3, 2, 1. Otherwise can also happen. Like if your scale is 1 means better. So in ordinal data, we can do some kind of calculation, mathematical calculation is. Suppose measures of centrality, if you want to calculate for ordinal, the best measures of central tendency, the median. Because when you calculate median, the first thing we do is we order all the data you have in either ascending order or descending order. We order it. So then when you are ordering from ascending order or descending order, so therefore, here in case when your data you are collecting in ordinal scale, you can use the median as a central tendency. You can collect median as a central tendency. You can collect data median as a central tendency. Similarly, when your data is in ordinal scale, you can use a rank order correlation. You can use a rank order correlation. You can use a rank order correlation. I say rank order correlation. Rank correlation generally we say. You can, in case of ordinal data, you can go for a rank order correlation. If you want to calculate the correlation, then you can go for rank order correlation. But here one thing I want to tell you here, in case of ordinal measurement, what happens? Suppose for example, so this is a race. This is a race is going on. The race is going on now. Hmm? Suppose race is going on. Just a minute. Suppose this is race is going on, and this is the first position. This is the second position, and I say this is the third position, and this is the rank you have given. This is ordinal data. Suppose that a completion is going on. You have ranked on basis of performance of the students. The first rank, the second rank, and the third rank, and you have ordered it, and you can conclude that the first rank student is the best, is better than second rank and the third rank. This conclusion you can make it. You can also make a conclusion that the third rank student is low in capacity than the second and the first. So this kind of conclusion you can make here. But here there is one problem in the ordinal scale. That is the equality of the interval. You say, if you see this, the difference between the rank 1 and the rank 2, and the difference between the rank 2 and rank 3 is not equal. It may not be, and many times it is not. So this is one of the limitation of the ordinal scale. We cannot say that the difference between the first and second and the second and third is same, is equal, because we are just ordering them. The two may come here. The two may come here. It may come it. So this is one of the problem that for which this ordinal scale cannot be used for all statistical calculations, and for which we need another scale of measurements, and which we are using and very popular in education, psychology, and social science research. So another scales of measurement we are using, and that is suppose this is 1, and another scales of measurement is interval scale of measurement. The problem that we face in ordinal scale that can be solved here. The problem there we face is, of course, we are able to add it. Of course, we can able to grade them or rank them 1, 2, 3, first, second, third, any number, not third. Suppose there are 20 students are there, you can grade them or rank them from 1 to 20. 1 is the highest, 20 is the lowest. You can do it. That is rank. But there you cannot say the difference between the first student and second students will be same like the difference between 19 and 20. It may not be different. So that is the limitation. When you cannot say the equality of the interval, the equality of the interval gap, then you cannot do most of the arithmetic operation. You cannot make a add. Suppose first rank plus second rank equals what? So arithmetic operation will not work. You cannot add, you cannot subtract, you cannot multiply, you cannot divide. For which we are searching another scale of measurement or another kind of data that is known as interval. And this interval scale is useful in all our social science research. Most of our research data, what we are gathering by using a test, achievement test, personality test, creativity test, aptitude test, that is example of interval data. It is a kind of measurement. It is a kind of measurement in that the distance is measured between points on a scale with a even units. Suppose there you see there are total mark is 100. You can give any mark from 1 to 100. Here the scale of measurement suppose is 100. We can give any mark within 1 to 100. You know, suppose for example somebody had secured 50 mark, another has secured 60 mark, another has secured 70 marks. Now you can say that the gap, the unit gap between 50 to 60 and between 60 to 70 is equal. You can say the gap between 50 to 60 and 60 to 70 is equal. The interval between scores is equal here. And therefore we say this is an interval scale. But it has one more problem we face here is, in case of interval scale, we face one important problem here. Of course, we have overcome the difficulty that we face in the ordinal scale, like equality of interval. The equality of interval is solved here, but here we face another problem. That is the greatest problem of our psychological and social measurement is, here there is no absolute zero. Here there is no absolute zero. Suppose for example you have conducted a test on mathematics and one student secured the mark is 0. Now our problem is we cannot conclude that particular student does not know anything about mathematics, because here there is no absolute 0 point. He or she may be having mathematical knowledge, but he or she failed in your mathematics test. If some other test is given, he or she may do well or may secure some marks. Therefore, you cannot say that he or she does not know anything about mathematics. So, because there is no absolute 0 point here, that is difficult. Still then, in all our educational, psychological, social measurement, we are using interval scale. And whenever we are using an interval scale, you can use all statistical operation, all arithmetic operation like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, almost all the statistics, your measures of central tendency, you can do mean, you can do standard deviation for dispersion, you can do correlation, all kind of statistical application can be done when we have an interval scale. But it has one problem. The problem is there is no absolute 0 point, and that can be removed by another scale of measurement, that is ratio scale. Ratio scale has all the properties of interval scale plus absolute 0 points, and therefore this absolute 0 point, The ratio scale is used in science, medicine, in scientific research, where there is 100% objectivity, where there is 100% absoluteness in there. For example, you are measuring my height or somebody height. When you say there is a zero height, it means that no height at all. When you measure quantity, volume, when you say zero volume means nothing. This happens in physical measurement and mostly we do in scientific research. But in social science research, we cannot do all such kind of measurement. We cannot do this kind of ratio scale. So therefore, we have to, our problem is we have to see the interval scale, because all our data what we are getting, all our scale what we are getting, that is ratio scale, because the tool that we use, the achievement test, the attitude scale, everything whatever we are doing, that we are collecting, that is a ratio scale. And the final slide, if you see, if you compare all the different levels of measurement or types of measurement, if you can see, the weakest measurement is nominal scale and the strongest measurement is ratio scale. And when you see the gap between interval and ratio scale, because we have lot of limitations in the interval scale, for which many times research in social science and education, psychology is criticized. But research in science and medicine, mostly in physical measurements, is more objective, therefore it is beyond doubts. But whatever the case may be, we have to do our research under interval scale. And the good thing is that even we have an interval scale, we can do all kinds of statistical, all kinds of arithmetic calculations. So what we discussed today, we have discussed everything about the data and different types of data, and especially we have given discussion on the levels of measurement or types of measurements. And the side by side I told you also, when data is in nominal scale, how it can be analyzed, what kind of statistic can be utilized. When data is in interval scale, what kind of statistic? I think all kinds of statistical application we can do it. So with this I stop here, and